St. Paul, thank you very much for that introduction. But you know, you're like thousands of others who took out loans for undergraduate school and graduate school, and because you wanted to serve your community, and you have. But in the meantime, that $90,000 you borrowed grew to $145,000, even though you kept paying on a monthly basis. Folks, I'm happy to have been able to forgive these loans, because when we realize and relieve Americans of their student debt, they're free to chase their dreams. And Doc, you got one of your dreams, your baby girl. Gonna finally. By the way, an awful lot of people with student debt are putting off whether they can have a child, whether they can, a whole range of basic fundamental issues. And Mayor Bass, thank you for your partnership, and more importantly for me, your friendship. And I want to thank the Culver City Mayor. Where are you, Mayor? Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be joined by members of Congress, Alex and the Senate and Sidney in the House. I really appreciate your being here. It's a busman's holiday for you guys to come here and other public officials speak, but thank you. And I know our great Vice President sends her love to all our California friends. She constantly, all I hear about is California, you know? I'm glad to be here. When I was Vice President, all I heard about was Chicago, you know. But I'm trying to make sure they hear about Delaware, but it ain't working yet. Look, Kamala and I ran to lead this country. We made a commitment to fix our broken student loan system. It was one of the things we both talked about in the beginning. Because while a college degree is still a ticket to a better life, that ticket is too expensive. And too many Americans are still saddled with unsustainable debt in exchange for a college degree. So there's a student loan program to be able to afford a college degree, but a lot of people didn't take advantage of it, and I wanted to make sure they did. The ability to repay, though, has become so burdensome. A lot of people can't even repay, and they try. They don't miss payments. They work like the devil every month to pay their bills. But even they pay their loans, their debt increases, doesn't diminish because of interest rates. And I thought I'd make a lot more sense to relieve student debt for families and it would grow our economy. Well, there were existing programs in the law to fix and adjust the programs. We had to change them to make people actually make them available for people, make people eligible. And that's what I've done when the Supreme Court said I couldn't go ahead and relieve all the debt. It helps everyone, not just the people whose debt is relieved, but when people in student debt relieved, they buy homes, they start businesses, they contribute, they engage in the community in ways they weren't able to before. It actually grows the economy. It grows the economy. That's why my administration has taken significant action to provide student debt relief to so many borrowers that many who didn't know they were able to get relief, and do it as quickly and as possible. Look, early in my term, I announced a major plan to provide millions of working families with debt relief for their college student debt. Tens of millions of people in debt were literally about to be canceled, their debts. But my MAGA Republican friends in the Congress, elected officials, and special interests stepped in and sued us, and the Supreme Court blocked it. But that didn't stop me. I announced we were going to pursue alternative paths for student debt relief for as many borrowers as possible. And that's the effort that's been underway the last 2 years. I fixed what's called the SAVE plan. It existed, but I fixed it to make it the most affordable repayment plan ever. Before I took office, student borrowers had to pay 10% of their discretionary income on a monthly basis. If they didn't have enough to do that, they were able to not have to pay that month, but the interest continued. A lot of people don't have the means to do that, though. Under my SAVE plan, we're cutting in half to 5% the what undergraduate borrowers have to pay after their living expenses are accounted for. That means no one with an undergraduate loan, whether it's a community college or a four-year college, will have to pay more than 5% of their discretionary income to repay those loans starting in July. And that's income after you pay for necessities like food and housing. Already 7.5 million Americans have enrolled in this so-called SAVE plan. And there's more than 4 million of those borrowers had their monthly payments dropped to zero if they were living paycheck to paycheck below a certain level. This plan is the most generous repayment program ever, and today we're doing it even faster and quicker than ever before. I'm proud to announce our SAVE plan. We are immediately canceling the debt loans for over 150,000 borrowers, nearly 6 months ahead of schedule. Starting today, we're canceling student debt for borrowers who are enrolled in the SAVE plan and have been paying student loans for as little as 10 years. If they borrowed less than $2,000, it's forgiven. $12,000, excuse me. The loan is forgiven. This action will be a huge help to graduates of community college and borrowers of smaller loans, putting them back on track faster for debt forgiveness than ever before. This builds on other progress I've made in canceling student debt for close to 4 million Americans through various actions. For example, we fixed what was called the Public Service Loan Program, the Loan Forgiveness Program, which was designed to make sure that school teachers, firefighters, law enforcement officers, social workers, public servants get their student loans forgiven if they make payments for 10 years in a row and 10 years of public service at the same time. And when I took office, there were 7,000 public servants who had taken advantage of this program and had it forgiven. But thanks to the reforms we made in the program, now there are nearly 800,000 have had their debts forgiven. 800,000. Look, let me close with this. This kind of relief can be life-changing for individuals and for their families. And it's good for the economy as a whole. By freeing millions of Americans from the crushing debt of student loan programs, it means they can finally get on with their lives instead of their lives being put on hold. They can think about buying a house, starting a home, starting a family, having a family future that they can enjoy, or saving for the family's future, saving and being put away a little bit of money. I'm proud to have been able to give borrowers like so many of you the relief you earned. I promise you I'm never going to stop fighting for hardworking American families. So if you qualify, you'll be hearing from me shortly. Thousands of people per month are eligible, about 25,000 a month, or every 2 months will be paid on a 50,000 basis, but are eligible for relief, and they'll begin a letter from me letting them know they're qualified. And when they get that letter, your debt's going to be forgiven. Look, folks, and it's also helping you who don't go to college. It's not just, people say to me sometimes, well, Joe, that's great, you're helping people get into college, but how about all those hardworking people you grew up with in the neighborhood? How about all those folks in labor unions? How about all those hardworking people who work with their hands? Why should they have? Well, just today my labor department announced this is not the student loan program, but $200 million in grants for registered apprenticeship programs around the country, while you can learn a skilled trade and lead to good paying jobs. Everybody thinks if you're an electrician, you say one day, I want to be an electrician. And you got to go to school, basically. And these apprenticeship programs are 4 and 5 years before you qualify to have a license. They work like hell to get these licenses. And guess what? You work with your hands, you ought to be able to make a decent living. And that's why they're doing it now with my position on organized labor. So it matters. All this matters. My dad used to say, Joey, a paycheck is about more than, a job is about more than a paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about opportunity. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay. You got a chance. That's all we're doing. And people are taking advantage, giving people a chance, a fighting chance to make it. Because no one who's willing to work hard in America should be denied the opportunity to have that chance. And so, how many of you had student loans forgiven there? All right.